In this video, I'm so excited to share with you my new homeschool planner for this homeschool year. I will show you how I set it up for the whole homeschool year so it keeps me organized and consistent. And by the end of this video, you will have gotten an inside look on exactly how I plan everything in my planner to keep me organized, consistent, and to reach my goals that I set for each of my kids. So this is my homeschool planner for this year. And I got this homeschool planner from the Plum Planner, and I've been getting all my planners from Plum Planners the last 2 years, and I've really enjoyed my planners from them because I love how it's personalized. It's personalized on the cover and it's personalized on the inside where you can add your kids' names, which I'll show you in a bit. But the Plum Planners is a planner company that I would recommend if you're looking for a homeschool planner. They have daily planners, weekly planners, and they have homeschool planners as well. And I have loved getting all my planners from them. And so this size is the medium. There's a size that's smaller and there's a size that's bigger. So I got the medium size because that's the size that fits well in my hand, and I have really enjoyed using it. And so if you are interested in getting a homeschool planner, make sure you check out the Plum Planner, and I'll leave their link down in the description below. And so right now I'll be showing you exactly how I plan my whole homeschool year in my planner. I will be walking you through how I set it up, how I lay out my planner to plan out my whole homeschool year. So the steps and strategies that I actually use to plan my whole homeschool year, I actually talk about in another YouTube video, which I'll link right here, which I recommend to go watch it if you've never planned your homeschool year. But all the steps that I've talked about in that video, I'll be physically showing you in my actual planner and how I lay it out. So before you watch this video to see how my own planner looks, I recommend watching the other video to see the steps on how I plan my whole year, my term, and my weekly and daily. And then I recommend coming back to here. Okay, so let's go into exactly how I lay out my homeschool planner. So with the Plum Planner, you can personalize the planner. You can write the date, and you can write a verse of the Quran, or you can write a reminder or your family name, anything you want from the Plum Planner. They really love creating personalized planners. And so I wrote an ayah of the Quran, surely in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find comfort. And this ayah of the Quran is one of my favorite ayahs that I love to reflect on, that I love to practice daily. And I just love it, so I just decided to put on my homeschool planner this year. So now let's get into my actual planner and how I set it up. The other thing you'll notice about my planner is that I have set it up with all my titles and where I'm going to put everything, but I haven't actually filled it out. So I still have to go in, fill out my goals, my vision. I'm going to do all that after this video because that's all private information and I want to share that with the world. So you won't see any of my actual information. Okay, so the first thing that I always write is my vision. So I always write my vision in another notebook that I keep for my homeschool that I just like to make little notes. So I like to write my vision there, and I rewrite it every year, and I just cut it out and I just paste it on the front of my planner, which I plan to do for this planner as well. So the vision is very, very important for you to have a vision of why you are homeschooling every year. You should revisit your vision, see if you can add to it, see if you want to change it up, but you need to know this vision of why you are choosing this way of education for your kids. And it needs to be strong in your mind and your heart before you start homeschooling. And so I always like to write it out every year and put it in my planner. Okay, the next part of my planner is the calendar. So you have to choose a specific calendar that you're gonna follow. And I follow the 6 weeks on and 1 week off school calendar. And so I always go in, and like you see that I'm gonna be starting August 5, inshallah, this year. And I just go in and I just highlight all my breaks, when I wanna take my breaks. And then when I actually go through the school year, I cross off the weeks that we have done. And if I decide that we're not gonna take a break that week, I actually just cross it off and I actually circle the breaks that we have actually taken. So whatever breaks that you set at the beginning of the year, you can always change it when you're going through the actual school year and things come up. You can always change your breaks. Okay, so this page, I'm not using it for anything, so I'll be leaving it blank. Okay, so this page has a couple of things. We're gonna start with here. These are the goals for my 3 kids. So this is my 7-year-old, this is my 4.5-year-old, and this is my toddler. So I like to write the goals that I want to complete every homeschool year. what do I want to focus on each child? What skills, what knowledge? It could be anything, because you know your child really well, you know what their strengths and the weaknesses are, and you know what you want them to work on. You need to have goals set for each of your kids the beginning of each year, because this will help you guide the rest of the school year. This will let you know what you can continue and what you cannot drop, and what you can let go of and is not important for each child throughout your homeschool year. Every decision that you make in your homeschool year when it comes to each child has to come back to the goals that you have set for them. This part is where I write the core subjects and interests for each of my children. So B here is my second grader. So he's gonna have the most core subjects here, and this is where I write his interest. W is my kindergartner. I write his core subject here, which is usually Quran and Qaida Nuraniya, which I talk about in another video. Those are the only two subjects that I focus when I am homeschooling a preschooler and a kindergartner. And so if you are interested in wondering how I do that, make sure you check out this video on the screen. But the two subjects here that I only focus on for my kindergartner is Quran and Qaida Nuraniya. And then I write his interest. And then this is my toddler, so I don't really have anything I focused on. So this is very important to write down the beginning of the year, so you know the core subjects you are going to be doing for the whole year and the interest that your kids want. And so when it comes to interest, I talk to each of my kids. What do you want to learn this year? What are you passionate about? What do you love? And they will tell you what they want to learn more about. And I write it in here because when I am planning for my term throughout the year and I'm thinking about maybe I want to put them in an activity or in a sports, I come back to their interests. I always make time to plan for their interests. Let's say, for example, one of my kids is interested in soccer. So I'm gonna make it a point when I'm planning for my homeschool year and I'm planning for each term to make sure I put him in a soccer program. So the next part of my planning is my term planning. So after I plan for my whole homeschool year, I plan for each term. So because I homeschool 6 weeks on and 1 week off, I have approximately 6 terms in the whole homeschool year. And when it comes to term planning, this is when I plan for the family subject. Every term, I figure out the 1 to 2 family subjects that I want to focus on for that term. And that really gives me 6 weeks to fully dive into that curriculum or that book and to complete most of it and to get through it, because I'm just focusing on that specific book for that term. And so I write down all the family subjects that I want to do for each term. So when I'm planning for the term, every term I come back to this page and I just write that down. So I know what books and what curriculums that I need to organize and put that in my morning basket so I can teach during our morning basket time. Okay, and so now I have here all my family subjects. And this is where I brainstorm all the family subjects that I want to do with all my kids together. And once I have a list that I brainstormed, I take these ideas and then I plan out which term that I'm gonna do them. And so that's kind of how I do that. And then I also write down in red the resources that I need, if I have the book or if I have to buy the book. Okay, so now that is my yearly and my term planning. So now let's go into my weekly and my daily planning. Okay, so this is how a week looks like in my homeschool. With Plum Planners, you can personalize all your planners. I have chosen to write the days of the week at the top, and then I have chosen to write the type of subjects and each of my kids on the left side here. So family subjects are all the subjects that I'm gonna do every day with all my kids together. B is my second grader, and I write down all his subjects that he has to do for every day of the week. And then this is his Quran, which surah that he's memorizing and his lessons. So I always write down which ayahs that he's memorizing and what page of the Qaida Nuraniya we're on. And W is my kindergartner, and I always write down if he completed his 2 subjects, which is Quran and Qaida Nuraniya. And this is his Qaida Nuraniya level. And I like to write down which surah he's on, which surah and ayah he's on, and which Qaida Nuraniya page he's on. So this is basically how I plan for the week. Each of my kids have a checklist of things that they have to do, specifically my second grader. And I just come in every Monday morning or Tuesday morning, I just write down all his subjects. So it'll be reading, writing English or writing Arabic, and math. So I basically write that here, and then I write in which Quran ayah he's memorizing and which Qaida Nurani lesson we're on. And so every day when I actually do homeschooling with my kids and I go through my day, I just cross off all the subjects that we have done. If we have not done a subject for some reason, because maybe I'm not feeling well, or maybe my toddler is just clingy and not feeling well, I just circle it just so I know. So when I plan the next day, I know what subject I know I have to focus on. And so that's how I plan every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the way up to Friday. And that's how it looks inside my planner. The other thing I want to mention, which I've gotten questions on before, is how do I do lesson planning every day? And so the thing is, I don't do lesson planning every day because every curriculum that I choose for my kids are open and go, meaning I literally just open the lesson and I just start teaching from the book. There's no planning, there's no extra things that I have to collect. Everything that I need is there. And so when I finish a lesson, I like put a bookmark, and then the next day I start from where I stopped and I just continue. So I basically in my planner just write the subject that we have to do. Some homeschool moms do write the pages and the chapters. I don't do that. So you have to figure out what works for you. But if you don't want to do any lesson planning, I recommend getting curriculums that are open and go. I hope that has helped. If you like this video, then you will love the next video where I explain and show you the exact steps that I use to plan for my whole homeschool year in less than 2 hours. If you're interested in that, check out the next video on the screen.